All right, y'all. Back again another week for the Bearded Bros Golf Show. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
And at it for another week of golf. It was actually a pretty busy week. It felt like there was a lot of golf going on throughout the
Yep.
world, but we'll just hit it from the top here. We'll address the Butterfield Bermuda Open. Um, a becoming a staple here on the PGA Tour. Every single year there seems to be guys fighting for their cards. You see a bunch of rookies out here, fighting for some level of status. We see Camilo Villegas, his second week in contention, was a shot back to start the day with Norin leading going into the final round, and Villegas getting his first win in the 9 years.
By Camilo Villegas, tied for second last week, a winner this week. Camilo Villegas is back in the winner's circle. Ruiz.
You think about him making a resurgence at this point in his career. Still looks amazingly healthy. We talked about it last week that had some personal trials and tribulations with his
Yeah.
22-month-old daughter passing away due to cancer, but him looking really good, man.
Yeah. I think another thing, just like one of the guys with just such natural ability, just waiting on him to get back healthy and get everything back situated, back at home. But yeah, swing looks really good. Still hitting the swing and draw, and I mean, I'm just happy for that guy. 2 years of exemptions. Doesn't have to worry about his card, and went ahead and took care of everything with one fell swoop. So good on
Yep.
him. And I think he's going to take this momentum to the Tournament of Champions. Now has to go to Hawaii. Now, no reason why you
Yeah.
shouldn't. So definitely good
Yeah.
look for
Looks good.
Vegas.
And shout out to him with the AJ ones.
All week. Hmm.
The Chicago Jordan AJ ones, looking clean out there. So he's got actually I've followed him on socials and he's got a pretty massive AJ1 collection, highs and some lows. So
Yeah.
loving the look. We're Jordan fans over here. It's a solid golf shoe. So shout out to him. Seeing the leader, the winner circle again, and
Yeah.
again, just kind of researching his career, and the Bryan brothers of YouTube fame. Wesley's been on the tour. I think was his 119th start, but his brother George Bryan. Getting his first start out on the PGA Tour based on an exemption into this Butterfield Bermuda Championship, and they both made the cut on the number, or pretty close to the number, with Wesley going on to win, get tied for 37th, and George tied for 69th, and will both continue to scrap it out in Q School to get more status going into next year. Hopefully for George, some kind of temporary status. What do you think about YouTube fame turning that into real life golf? Success, or at least an opportunity to have some success. It seems like the pressure seemed to wear on George in particular, while he's always been a beautiful swinger of the club. Two questions for you. Do you think this translates long term? And did you ever pick up on their YouTube kind of vibe? I never really did. I always knew about them, but I was never a regular subscriber to their channel. What are your thoughts on those two things?
Yeah. Same. I never really took to him on YouTube. But you know how I do with that. I don't really follow too many YouTube, so I don't really subscribe to too many YouTubers just because of my usual icks. It's either like it doesn't take much to turn me off to some people, the voice, whether or like if you're just corny and stuff like that. So I definitely I'm definitely happy to see them finally make it. Wesley, not so much. George, yes, but didn't weren't they both on Big Break? Isn't that how we remember them first?
Um, is that the first
I feel
introduction that
like
we've
I
had to them?
I feel like that was my first introduction to Wesley, but that was a while ago. They're in their mid 30s now. So that
Yeah.
was like, maybe I don't want to say 10 years ago, but I want to say
It's
seven.
been a while since we've seen Big
Big
Break.
Break, period.
Big
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Wesley Bryan was on the Palm Beach, Florida version in 2015. So
So
yeah,
almost
8 years
a year.
ago. Probably
All
the
right.
last
So
season
yeah.
that they had.
Okay, so that does make sense then. Yeah. So that's where I remember Wesley from mainly, not even the YouTube stuff, but then, their professional career didn't really kick off like they thought it would. But
Hmm.
just two guys that have always had it and probably mentally didn't. So glad for him to finally, mature enough to, lock in when needed, and that's how they made the cut. Because George shot like a 5 under or something like that on the back
Hmm.
nine to make the cut, even just right on the number. So, really good on him. And I think ultimately, when these guys, can get a 6,800-yard course like that, you kind of got to go crazy on it and make sure that you're doing a lot of scoring. And glad he was able to
Yeah.
do that on a course like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting course setup with some shortish par fives and, really long par threes.
Yeah,
There's some,
feature
200
hole
plus
was like
yard par threes.
230.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's an interesting course setup. The wind wasn't crazy as it's been in past years out there in Bermuda. I
Right.
mean, they're right off the water. I remember last year it really just whipping around and them having, some really big struggles with that wind. So I mean, shout out to them. I really do hope it translates. Like you said, they're in their mid 30s at this point. Wesley, in my YouTube feed, occasionally will pop up. He had a round several years ago that the PGA Tour will feature where he was playing solo and
Yeah, first
out,
off with
as
his
a
caddy.
as a dew sweeper. Yep, and they were running, from shot to shot, and I think he ended up shooting like a 68 or 69 that day. But it showed slow play does not have to be a real thing, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in the show.
Yeah.
You get a lot of stuff out of this channel, y'all. A little business knowledge, a little technical golf knowledge, a little BS in here and there. You're in a well-rounded environment. So uh,
Absolutely.
hit that subscribe button, hit that membership button. We got you covered on all things golf.